Hello students, today we will discuss questions of AIMS Biochemistry 2019. So first question, a child presents with hypotonia and seizures. It was confirmed to be Zellweger syndrome. Which of the following in brain accumulates in brain in this condition? Options are glucose, lactic acid, long chain fatty acid, triglycerides. So in Zellweger syndrome, the answer is C. Long chain fatty acids are accumulated. We can see the explanation. Zellweger syndrome, it is an autosomal recessive syndrome. It's otherwise called cerebro-hepatorenal syndrome. There is impaired neuronal migration and myelination, hepatomegaly and renal cyst. There is reduction or absence of functional peroxisomes in tissues, and there is accumulation of very long chain polyenoic acids in the brain. There are severe neurological symptoms and most patients die within the first year of life. So second question, which of the following does not happen in the 5' to 3' direction? Options are transcription, DNA replication, DNA repair, RNA editing. So we know that transcription, DNA replication, DNA repair, all these three occur in 5' to 3' direction, but RNA editing occurs in 3' to 5' direction. So answer is D, RNA editing. Let's see the explanation. Let's go. RNA editing occurs in 3' to 5' direction. It is a process by which the coding sequence is changed at the mRNA level before translation. And the RNA editing occurs by insertion of additional U's at the 3' end of the mRNA and proceeds in the 3' to 5' direction. So the guide RNA acts as a template for the editing process. An example of RNA editing is ApoB gene and mRNA. So that is ApoB48 and ApoB100 are produced from the same gene. The mRNA is translated as usual in ApoB100, but in intestine a particular cytosine residue is deaminated to become uracil. So stop codon is generated in the middle and a short protein is produced in the intestine, that is B48. That is a truncated protein is ApoB48. It's an example of RNA editing. And size is only 48% of the size of the ApoB100. We will see the next question. Chimeric DNA is used for. Options are paternity test, maternity test, personal identification, organ transplantation. And the answer is D, organ transplantation. So chimeric DNA is also known as recombinant DNA and is used in organ transplantation, especially in bone marrow transplant. The practical applications of recombinant technology include gene mapping, which using techniques such as FISH, fluorescent in situ hybridization, producing proteins such as interferons, then tissue plasminogen activator, insulin, growth hormone, hepatitis B vaccine, molecular analysis of disease to detect gene variations and mutations, RFLP, restriction fragment length polymorphism, and SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism. These are some of the applications of recombinant DNA technology. Also microsatellite DNA polymorphism. Gene therapy and bone marrow transplantation. These are some of the applications of recombinant DNA technology. Next question. A bodybuilder starts eating raw eggs for protein. He starts to develop fatigue or moderate exercise. The doctor prescribes a vitamin. Which enzyme is deficient in him? Options are glucose 6-phosphatase, pyruvate carboxylase, PepCK, glycogen phosphorylase. So, what could be the answer? He started eating raw eggs. You know the raw eggs contain avidin. Avidin is what is the significance of avidins? We will see the explanation. So avidin is an antagonist of the protein biotin, of the vitamin biotin. So the patient developed pyruvate carboxylase enzyme deficiency because biotin serves as a coenzyme for the synthesis of several carboxylase enzymes such as acetyl-CoA carboxylase, pyruvate carboxylase, propionyl-CoA carboxylase and methyl-crotonyl-CoA carboxylase. So these enzymes depend on biotin. So individuals who eat an excess of uncooked egg white develops biotin deficiency and as a result deficiency of carboxylase enzymes. This is because a protein called avidin present in the egg white binds to the biotin in the diet and makes biotin unavailable for intestinal absorption. Next question, which of the following shows functional assessment of B1 deficiency? The options are RBC transketolase, RBC glutathione reductase, serum thiamine levels, RBC glutathione peroxidase. And the correct answer is yes, A. It's RBC transketolase which shows functional assessment of B1 deficiency. So erythrocyte RBC transketolase test is the most widely used method for the functional assessment of thiamine deficiency. Thiamine diphosphate is a coenzyme for transketolase. Therefore, in thiamine deficiency, the RBC transketolase activity is reduced. When thiamine diphosphate is added in vitro to erythrocyte lysate, activation of apotranscyclase is suggestive of B1 deficiency. Next question. Which modification will lead to change in the biological activity of the hormone given in the picture? So the hormone given in the picture is insulin. The options are hydrolase of disulfide bond, change in 5 to 6 in A chain, change in 29 to 30 in B chain, change in 14 to 16 in A chain. And the answer is C, change in 29 to 30 in B chain. Let's see the explanation. So insulin, here changes in 29 to 30 amino acids in the B chain cause the generation of short and long acting insulins depending on the modification. Now this is structure of insulin. It has two polypeptide chains, A chain and B chain, consisting of 21 and 30 amino acids and two interchain disulfide bonds between 7th and amino acid of A and B chain, that is interchain disulfide bond, and 20th amino acid of A chain and 19th amino acid of B chain, that is again a disulfide bond. And intrachain disulfide bond is between 6th amino acid of A chain and 11th amino acid in A chain. Now coming to the modifications. Some many long and short acting insulins are made by modification of the insulin structure. Like insulin lispro, the proline at the position 28 and lysine at position 29 in the B chain are interchanged. Insulin aspart, proline at position 28 in the B chain is replaced by aspartic acid. Insulin glulicin, asparagine at position 3 and lysine at position 29 in the B chain are replaced by lysine and glutamic acid. Insulin glargine, asparagine at position 21 in the A chain is replaced by glycine and the B chain contains two extra amino acids, two arginine residues at positions 31 and 32. Insulin detamir, here threonine at position 30 of the B chain is removed and a 14 carbon fatty acid chain is added to the position 29 of the B chain. Next question, the graph shown below is a titration curve of a biochemical compound. Which of the following statement is true? Okay, you can see the position A and B. First option, the maximum buffering capacity of the compound is represented by points A and B. Second option, the points A and B represent the range of maximum ionization of the amine and carboxyl group. Point C, the compound has 3 ionizable side chains. Option D, the compound has 1 ionizable group. So here the answer is A. The maximum buffering capacity of the compound is represented by points A and B. We can see the explanation. So the maximum buffering capacity of the compound is represented by the points A and B, which corresponds to the pK1 and pK2 of the compound. Coming to other options, the points A and B represent the pKa of the carboxyl and the amino groups respectively. The amino acid has no ionizable side chains as the graph shows 2 pKas. The amino acid has 2 ionizable groups, an amino group and a carboxyl group. So this is a glycine which has, so the points A and B represent site of maximum buffering action. Next question, which of the following TCA cycle intermediate is a part of heme metabolism? Options are alpha ketoglutarate, fumarate, succinyl-CoA and malate. And the correct answer is C. Succinyl-CoA is involved in heme synthesis. Now let's see the pathway of heme synthesis. We can see glycine plus succinyl-CoA forming delta aminolevulinic acid is the first step. Okay, so succinyl-CoA is formed in TCA cycle and is a part of the heme metabolism. And this is a pathway. Okay, first delta aminolevulinic acid is formed. then porphobilinogen is formed, then hydroxymethylbutylene is formed, then uroporphyrinogen 3, coproporphyrinogen 3, protoporphyrinogen 3, protoporphyrin heme. You can remember these intermediates by using the code. Amino acids placed in hot urine cup produces poor heme. I'll repeat, amino acids placed in hot urine cup produces poor heme. So amino acids, aminolevulinic acid placed porphobilinogen, hot hydroxymethylbutylene, urine uroporphyrinogen 3, cup coproporphyrinogen 3 produces protoporphyrinogen 3, poor protoporphyrin 3 heme. So that is a heme pathway. Next question, the catalytic efficiency of the enzyme is best expressed by which of the following kinetic constants? So catalytic efficiency is expressed by, the correct answer is A, Kcat by Km. So catalytic efficiency is expressed as a ratio of Kcat by Km. Kcat is a rate constant which is used to describe the limiting rate of an enzyme catalyzed reaction at saturation, and Km is the Michaelis-Menten constant which is defined as the substrate concentration at which initial velocity V0 is half the maximum velocity. So Kcat by Km represents the catalytic efficiency. So examples of the catalytically perfect enzymes where the catalytic efficiency reaches the diffusion limit of 10 raised to 8 to 10 raised to 9 per mole per second is triose phosphate isomerase, carbonic anhydrase, acetylcholinesterase and adenosine deaminase. So these are the 4 enzymes which are examples of catalytically perfect enzymes. Next question, type of mutation seen in sickle cell anemia. So here answer is C, point mutation. Point mutation is seen in sickle cell anemia where glutamine is replaced by valine. So this is the point mutation. CAG, that is mutated to CTG. Okay, so RNA. So that is GAG to GUG. Glutamine is replaced by valine in sickle cell anemia. So that is answer. Next question, by which mechanism does gene repair occur when mediated by CRISPR-Cas9? Options are base excision, NHEJ, homologous enjoining, mismatch repair. The correct answer is B, non-homologous enjoining. So NHEJ repair, that is non-homologous enjoining repair, is a major mechanism used by CRISPR-Cas9 for gene repair. So this is a CRISPR-Cas9 system used for gene editing. So CRISPR is a clustered regularly interspersed short palindromic repeats. That is a full form of CRISPR. They are clustered palindromic sequences found in many bacteria, and a clustered palindromic sequence, a form of acquired immunity to infection by bacteriophages which complements the system of restriction endonuclease and methylase. And it uses RNA-based targeting to bring the Cas9 endonuclease to foreign DNA. Within bacteria, this CRISPR-Cas9 complex then degrades and inactivates the targeted DNA. Next question, which of the following is deficient in a patient with features as shown below? So what is this? Yes, it is a K-cells necklace seen in niacin deficiency. So which amino acid deficiency causes niacin deficiency? The answer is B, tryptophan. So image provided, that is characteristic of K-cells necklace seen in pellagra, and it indicates a deficiency of tryptophan. Pellagra can occur due to vitamin B3, that is niacin, derived from tryptophan and needs B2 and B6 for its synthesis. Also it can occur in Hartnupp's disease due to tryptophan malabsorption, the malignant carcinoid syndrome by increased tryptophan metabolism, and isoniazid, decreased vitamin B6. The attachment of mRNA to the ribosome is mediated through, options are poly A tail, tRNA, guanyl gap, Shine-Dalton sequence. And the answer is C, guanyl gap. So attachment of mRNA to the ribosome is mediated through the guanyl gap at the 5' end. So eukaryotic mRNAs have 7-methyl guanosine gaps at the 5' end and the poly A tails at the 3' end. So 7-methyl guanosine gaps are necessary for processing of primary transcripts to mRNA, mediating attachment of mRNA to ribosome for translation, protection of mRNA against nucleolytic attack by 5' exonuclease. Next question, which of the following would not have no effect on the function of protein product? Glutamine replaced by asparagine, glutamine replaced by alanine, glutamine replaced by glutamate, glutamine replaced by arginine. And the answer is A, glutamine replaced by asparagine. So the concept discussed is the conservative or the homologous replacement of amino acids. Here both asparagine and glutamine are both uncharged polar amino acids. So thus when replaced by asparagine, there is no change in polarity or charge of the peptide protein. So that is the answer. Next question, which of the following is not true about proteoglycans? Carries negative charge? Yes, true. Chondroitin sulfate is a proteoglycan? Yes, true. Made of amino acids and sugars? Yes. Holds less water? Is that true? No. It holds more water. Proteoglycans holds more water. So that is the answer here. So let's see the explanation. The proteoglycans, they are made of central protein core with O-linked glycosaminoglycan side chains. They hold large quantities of water and occupy space. They provide the ground substance of connective tissue. Examples are hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate and heparin. Next question, which of the following has protective as well as lubricating property? So out of these glycoproteins, which has both protective and lubricating property? Options are collagen, mucin, albumin, immunoglobulin. And the answer is B, mucin. So mucins have both lubricant and protective property, whereas collagens, they are the structural components, and transport glycoproteins are transferrin and ceruloplasmin. So the answer is mucin. It has both lubricant and protective property. Next question. In urocycle disorders, which of the following can be used to reduce the levels of ammonia? So they are asking about the ammonia scavengers. Options are glutamate, phenylbutyrate, isoleucine, L-carnitine. And the ammonia scavenger among the given option is B, phenylbutyrate. So phenylbutyrate reduces ammonia levels. They diverts urea into alternate pathway and reduces the amount of ammonia. Other ammonia scavengers include phenylacetate and benzoate. So phenylacetate, benzoate and phenylbutyrate, they are ammonia scavengers. Next question, restriction endonuclease will act on which of the following? So we know the restriction endonuclease will act on palindromic sequences. Let's see which is the palindromic sequence. Options are AAG, AAG, GAG, AGG, AAG, CTT, TACG, AG. And the answer is C, AAG, CTT. Let's see the explanation. So AAG, CTT. When it is read from backwards, it is also AAG, CTT. So that's the restriction endonuclease. They act and cleave at the site of palindromic sequence. So that is the correct answer. So that's about the AIIMS Biochemistry 2019 questions. A slide of motivation. Push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. So all the best for your exams. Thank you.